Hello, and this is a quick vlog from my vehicle. I've just been into town shopping and I looked at my phone and I've seen a story there that I need to sort of do a video about. It's a video about the fact that most disability benefit fraud allegations are false. As you probably suspect, the idea of somebody who is going to report you for alleged disability benefit fraud is a staggering and horrific proportion of the allegations are actually found to be false. And these are taken from the government's own statistics made available through a FOI, a Freedom of Information request by disabled activists. So it shows that 9 out of 10 allegations of fraudulent claims passed to the DWP proved to be unfounded. The FOI was made by Berkshire Disabled People Against Cuts, the DPAC, which has grown concerned that years of government rhetoric that has stated or implied that disability benefit fraud was a high proportion, huge proportion, and a huge problem, and even a significant cause of austerity itself, which we all know is rubbish because that was due to the bankers. There's been mounting concern over those years that disabled people are being subjected to disability hate crime as a result of the so-called benefit scrounger rhetoric, with disabled campaigners warning that such language has added to the hostile environment faced by disabled people. But the DWP figures, they actually prove that nearly all reports of benefit fraud are to the hotline and website have proved to be false and unfounded. Between 2017 and 2019, the percentage of cases that were alleged benefit fraud were found to be 90% incorrect. This figure relates to the allegations made about claimants of both ESA and PIP. The DWP response says all allegations of fraud received are checked to see if they can be substantiated. In case where there's no evidence of wrongdoing, the referral will be closed at the earliest possible stage. The DPAC, Berkshire DPAC, asked for the FOI after reading yet another story about impact on a disabled woman of being hauled through an investigation because of a ridiculous allegation. It seems to us that going through the thoroughly discredited ESA and PIP assessments and sometimes having to wait months and months to go to tribunal is bad enough even if you win. We know that it's destroying lives, physical and mental health. If on top of the stress you then find yourself under investigation because someone has made an allegation that you're claiming your benefit fraudulently, how do you expect to cope mentally? It worried the DPAC group that the strings of ministers responsible for DWP and the media have encouraged the general public for years to think of disabled people as scroungers and cheats at worst and as a burden on society at best. The stereotypes laid the groundwork for people who are jealous for receiving benefits, and there are lots of those. In fact, I've had that accusation thrown at me because I go to Thailand quite frequently. They say, "Oh, you're using your benefits to go to Thailand," No, I save my money. I earn money which I save. I pay for it on credit card. I had a bank loan which I paid back. Plus, of course, I got money from my mum who paid for a trip to Thailand, and of course I got a couple of benefactors who paid for a trip to Thailand too. It must be massively worrying for people with invisible impairments, or those with visible ones, because even though we're not immune to being questioned by the members of the public as to why they have a blue badge, obviously it's more stressful. Obviously the DPAC organisation have suggested that the DWP doesn't automatically launch a full-scale investigation when it receives an allegation that will do little to reassure most disabled people already feeling under threat from a profoundly unfair system. And this is the interesting thing that comes out of this story, is the fact that not all allegations are dealt with by a fraud investigator. Some are directed to the compliance team. As far as I know, and the fact that I've been told, the compliance team is a fraud team. It's a team of people investigating fraud. So they're passing it to a department that deals with fraud. The DWP refused to accept that the figures show that a hostile environment whipped up by ministers and politicians and the media had led to an atmosphere in which a flood of false allegations of fraud have been made against disabled people. DWP also refused to admit that there were concerns about the figures and the effect of those figures on disabled people. The DWP refused to say what action they would take to reduce the number of false allegations. Disability hate crime has been fueled by ministerial encouraged press saying that everybody out there is a scrounger. Programmes like Benefit Street and all the rest of it. The Sun newspaper ran its hotline to find how many scroungers you could find. And this has led to a huge increase in hate crime on our streets. Hostile rhetoric stretches back to the new Labour government, which is unfortunate, because the Minister for Works and Pensions, Peter Hain, vowing to rip up Sick Note Britain. And of course, 3 years later, Ian Duncan Smith got on the bandwagon, and he was appalled at how easy it was to claim incapacity benefit and cheat the system, and suggested that a large proportion of IB claimants were cheats. Ian Duncan Smith said, we don't want to talk about scroungers in the future. We want to talk about British people being renowned the world over for working hard. Anyway, have a good day. I'm going to get off home now, so I'll catch you later. Bye for now.